I was introduced to the concept of soaking and dehydrating by a lady named Linda Cox, and she's back in Ohio. And so in 2011, I had her come up here and do a one-day seminar on whole grain nutrition and soaking and dehydrating and that kind of thing. And we put together this handy notebook, and we actually filmed the sessions, and we've got DVDs here, whole grain nutrition, and then soaking and sprouting whole grain, fermenting, and sourdough. And so this is a little booklet with probably 30-40 recipes in it, and the DVDs from that seminar. So anyway, this is my introduction, and there you go. So this is a really good deal at $39. And then the following year, we did another series of cooking classes and put together another notebook. We went over the soaking and the dehydrating. By then I was into it and really enjoyed it. And so we've got more of those kinds of recipes in here, and a lot of other pressure cooker recipes, and using the dehydrator for pasta and jerky. And anyway, a lot of that is contained in this notebook. And then in 2013, we added to the notebook, we did another one-day seminar on some more cooking classes. So anyway, we do have these for sale for $20 as well. It's probably the best value in a cookbook that you'll ever get. And I talked a little bit about the different kinds of grains that I had soaked and dehydrated. This, of course, is our bread grains that we just put back in our jar here. And this is brown rice. And this has been soaked and dehydrated with some lemon juice in it. And I had mentioned my baking grains. This is equal parts of spelt, brown rice, and barley. And that's what goes into my mill when I want to make cookies or pie crust or cakes, that kind of thing. And it turns out into a really nice, almost a white flour. And it's a real power-packed, nutrient-dense flour when you use those three grains. And this right here is called 7-grain mix, and this is what I use with oat groats for my breakfast grains. And I like to take those and run them in my mill with one of these two as well to make pancake mix. And if I wanted to make some hot cereal, then I have a roller flaker, and I run these in my roller flaker and make my own flaked cereal. Now this right here is these grains that have been run through my roller flaker, and that's all ready to make hot cereal. Just add some water to it, and cook it like you would normal oatmeal. And I've also chopped up some pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and put that in there. But the other way that you could do it is you could run this through your roller flaker and then soak it overnight. You know, if you're the kind of person that likes to do things up ahead of time, you can soak this overnight with a little bit of acidulated water, like again with some lemon juice or vinegar or healthy yogurt, and let that sit overnight, and that would release the phytic acid that's on those grains. Now we also have started sprouting some grains. You probably noticed these in the window today. And these are some grains that have started to sprout. If we had another few hours, it would probably be well sprouted. I did 4 cups of Prairie Gold in one jar, 4 cups of spelt in a jar, and 4 cups of kamut. And this is the Prairie Gold, and if you look closely, you can see the little white ends coming through. They're budding out there. And that classifies this now as sprouted grain. I soaked them in water for about 12 hours, and then I just poured the water off, and I laid the jar on its side to get some more surface area open to the air. And I've rinsed them a couple of times, so probably every 3 or 4 hours you want to rinse them off to keep them moist, and that's where how you will get the little ends budding out there. And so when more of these ends are budded out, probably in another 6 or 8 hours or so, then I will just put them right into my dehydrator. I think they've probably been rinsed enough times that you don't need to run them through the colander. You can just go right from the jar to the dehydrator. And there you will have sprouted grain bread. So I know it's very expensive in the stores to buy that. But when we make bread like this with our soaked grain or our sprouted grain, it costs about $1.15 or so for a fabulous loaf of bread. And you'll just be amazed at how delicious your bread has become, and it's so inexpensive that you can afford to purchase this equipment and have it paid for very quickly with all the money that you'll save over buying that bread. Here is our example of the sprouted grains that you saw in the jar, and we've dehydrated them. These are spelt grains here, and over here the longer grains, these are the kamut grains. And if you can see the long tails on them, I did not intend for these tails to be nearly that long. If the grain is just sprouted so it just barely starts to come out the end, that's perfect. But anyway, if you're concerned that these might not go through your mill very well, you can take the grains and kind of rub them in your hands a little bit, and quite a bit of those tails will fall off. So I don't think we'll have a problem getting them through the mill. But anyway, here's your sprouted grains, so you can run them through the mill and use that flour, and it'll be much easier on the digestion. And actually, there's a lot more nutrient value here, because when you sprout your grains, it releases a lot more of that nutrition that's in there, that's held in there by that phytic acid on the outside.